does sound a bit nutty and crazy, right? That you're completely conscious in the moment of what you're feeling inside of you, and you know one of your deepest wounds has been triggered. Rejection, hurt, guilt, whatever, doesn't matter. And you still decide to get angry, to get upset, to tip into some kind of lower frequency. I love you with my heart, with my soul, with every fiber of my entire being. How are you feeling right now, beautiful soul? So, I want to talk to you about the art of self-awareness, because it really and truly is an art form. It's something that's developed just like a martial art or a pianist, a vocalist, a painter, architect, anyone that is really good at something. Whether they've got natural abilities or not, to become really good, it takes practice. And when you're a human being that's on a journey to heal, expand, grow, develop, evolve here on this planet, there are many programs running in the background of everybody's biological computer, their body and their brain. Some programs are more empowering than others. And what we must do as individuals and as a species is become self-aware. Once you become self-aware, you start to monitor and observe the way that you are, the way that you respond, the way that you react, the way that you behave, the way that you move, the way that you think, the way that you're feeling. And as you become more and more self-aware, you're able to make changes to the responses and the reactions that stem from external elements, like people. People say things, you see things, events, circumstances, situations, and they often trigger you. And at first, you're just unaware of these triggers, so you react. There's a 0.25 second window between stimulus and response. And so when you're bouncing around in your head, you often react quickly and abruptly and without even thinking about it. It's a program that just runs. This is dangerous. But when you start to become aware, self-aware of what is happening within inside of you, when you're moving through your daily life, you start to notice how you react. And once you become aware of how you're reacting, you can start to change that. And the only way to change it is to live from the heart and not the head. When you're inside the head, there is this very short window between stimulus and response, and we react ever so quickly. And it's very hard to control. But when you're breathing deeply and you're very conscious of your body, thoughts, emotions, your space, you get to see the chaos and the craziness in these programs that you're running and how detrimental to your health, your happiness these programs are. And then you can start to change things. It's not easy. It's like a yo-yo. Yo-yos, you have that little bit of string, they go up and down, up and down. Whenever you go to change something in life, whether it's, your diet, whether it's stopping smoking, drinking, drugs, whether it's porn, whether it is going to the gym, starting a new exercise regime, quite often we start these things and dip back into our old programming. And then we go again and we dip back in. And what happens is you yo-yo in and out for a little while. And at first, you go into your exercise, for example, and you're all guns blazing and boom, you're thrown out after a week. And you might stop for 6 weeks or 4 weeks, whatever it is. and then you go back in again, and you might last 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 months this time, and then you dip back out into the program. Now what happens is the time out of the program when you're conscious and doing what you know you should be doing gets longer, and the time back in the program becomes shorter, and you yo-yo backwards and forwards for a little while. It's a process. Now there are some people that just go boom and they switch out of the program and into a highly conscious, aware state of being, and boom, they hold it. That's great. But that's not everybody. So I want you to know that if you're one of these human beings that struggles and yo-yos, it's completely normal. But when you become self-aware, you're more aware of this yo-yoing, and you're more aware of the triggers that send you back into the program. Now, when you become more and more aware, what actually happens in real time is you notice these triggers unfolding in the moment. So you might be having a conversation with your daughter or your son or your husband or your wife or your father or a business partner, whoever, and they say something and you feel it inside of you, and you're like, you want him to bubble up, and you feel it and you feel it, and then you bubble up. That's crazy, right? Because you know that you've been triggered and you still decide to allow yourself to go into the program. Now again, this is often a part of the process, but it does sound a bit nutty and crazy, right? That you're completely conscious in the moment of what you're feeling inside of you, and you know one of your deepest wounds has been triggered. Rejection, hurt, guilt, whatever, it doesn't matter. And you still decide to get angry, to get upset, to tip into some kind of lower frequency. It's nuts, but people do it. I've done it myself. Now, what you have to be able to do, you must be able to do, is to be aware of that trigger in the moment and just to continue and smile. I'll give you an example. Like yesterday, I was in our house. We've got a laundry room, and there was like laundry everywhere. Okay, so I said to my son and my daughter, like, come into the laundry room, let's have a quick chat. And so we're talking about how we can run the laundry room, the washing machine, the tumble dryer, different, laundry baskets. Like, what's a good efficient system? And as we were talking, I could feel little triggers in me where my daughter was saying something. And I was so aware of like how the old Jerry would have responded. But I didn't, or the old Jerry would have reacted. Okay, and the new Jerry decided to respond, and that was with no response at all, just to continue with our conversation. Anyway, after this, I got in the car with my son, and we were going down to the gym. And I said, you know when we had that conversation, going back, a year or whatever, we probably would have ended up in some kind of argument, or we would have ended up, having a heated discussion or whatever it was. And he was like, yeah, I know that. He said, I could feel it in me too. And it goes to show how far we've come. Because we're all very similar, myself and my two children. And it's very easy for us to press each other's buttons. And so having this three-way conversation, which would have in the old days escalated into an argument, someone saying something, getting hot-headed, shouting, whatever. It didn't happen, and all three of us just had a beautiful discussion, worked out what we were going to do, and moved forwards. That's a very simple thing, but just gives you an example of how this stuff works. And this can happen in business, this can happen in relationships, your husband, your wife. I mean, there's all different situations that this can happen in. But if you can just be breathing deeply and consciously all the time, when you're having a conversation, it allows you to listen properly instead of being in your head and thinking about your response to what they're saying, or what you're thinking about what you're going to do after you finish the conversation, which is what is happening in most people's heads. you actually breathe deeply, fully engage and fully listen. That gives you the opportunity to be totally present and engage in the conversation. It also gives you the opportunity to create space between you and what the other human being is saying. So as they're saying and sharing, you're truly listening, and you can observe how your body is feeling about what it's hearing them say. And then from there you can choose, how do you want to respond? Calmly, collectively, intelligently, or maybe no response at all and just smile and say, thank you for sharing. There is no right or wrong way to respond, but to react, that's dangerous. Now, this yo-yo element is something that a lot of human beings go through. So allow yourself to go through that process, and each time you yo-yo back into the program, take a deep breath. Don't beat yourself up, but just sit there and feel what happened. You can even rewind the timeline an hour, 2 hours, 3 days to when this event took place, and you can replay it in your mind and think, okay, that's where it happened. Next time I go through this situation or encounter myself or find myself in this kind of situation, I'm not going to let it play out like that. I'm going to be in control by relinquishing control and being present and just breathing into the situation, into the moment, and allowing it to unfold. If you're ever in a conversation, if you're ever in some kind of situation and you feel the trigger inside of you, just decide with a simple, powerful choice. Smile, breathe, be present, listen, and let that old emotion just dissolve inside of you. And the more you do this, the less it affects you. And over time, you just stay in the frequency of love, joy, harmony, ecstasy, happiness, all the good stuff. And maybe once a year, every 6 months, every 18 months, you might dip back into the program. And eventually, when you do dip back into the program, it's going to be for like an hour, 20 minutes, a couple of hours, and you're going to realize and see and feel the progress. And you can give yourself a big pat on the back and just say, well done. This is a process, beautiful soul. Enjoy it. Become self-aware. Breathe consciously into your belly. When you breathe into your belly, you activate calm receptors. When you breathe into your chest, you activate fear receptors. So breathe consciously into your body and observe your thoughts, your emotions, your space, everything that's taking place inside of you chemically. When people are communicating with you or when you're hearing things through different medias. However it unfolds, stay present, stay focused, stay in your power. The more you can be the frequency, so living from your heart consciously, with your heart wide open like a galactic, beautiful diamond flower, vibrating on the frequency of love, everything in your space is just going to submerge and merge and melt and dissolve into that frequency that you're emitting from your own heart, that you're emanating from every cell in your physical body, from every biophoton in your light body. And that's when you truly become effective in this present moment, because the present moment is the only moment that you can truly make change. Because when you're present, you've got all of your energy with you. When you're in your head and you're bouncing around in the past and the future, you're all over the place and you're fragmented. But when you're breathing deeply and consciously and you're centered and you're grounded right here, right now, in this moment, which melts into the next moment and the moment after that, harnessing and anchoring, boom, 24/7, 365, you become a super duper, supersonic manifester, an architect of your own reality, and you can literally create, just like that, exactly what you want, when you want it, where you want it, with who you want it. You are powerful, beautiful soul. You are seriously powerful. But you've got to know this, and the only way you're going to know this is by taking that deep, deep dive into that magical, mystical heart of yours. Wherever you are on this planet, go out and love your sisters and brothers. Love them fiercely and ferociously. Hug them tightly and never be the first to let go. Remember to check out our website, starmagichealing.com. We've got some of the best ascension tools on the planet. And if you click the link underneath this video, you can get access to 7 free meditations from our meditation library right now. You're amazing. Go and be amazing. Speak your truth, live your truth, have fun, and don't take life so seriously, because it's just a game, beautiful soul. And you've got to play it by your own rules. Alright? Create your own way of being on this planet and love every second. I'll see you real soon. One love, one heart, one human family. Peace out, beautiful soul.